Income doesn't make you rich. It hides why you're broke. Let me explain. Think about everyone you know who's ever gotten a raise, a promotion, or a better paying job. 5 years later, how many of them are actually better off financially? Not in terms of earning, but keeping more and building something. Most aren't. And you probably know someone like this. They earn well, have a nice car, a great lifestyle. But behind the scenes, nothing saved. No real investments, just pressure. Here's the truth. Being broke is not an income problem, it's a behavior problem. But most financial advice sounds like this. Earn more, get a better job, start a side hustle. But that's not the issue. Because if your habits are broken, more income doesn't fix it. It just hides it. It's like pouring water into a bucket with holes. You can keep pouring more in, but you'll never fill it. So today, we're looking at the holes. 5 reasons why you remain broke, no matter how much you earn. Reason number 1, the social spending tax. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said no to an outing, a dinner, a trip, or a group celebration because it simply wasn't in your budget? If your answer is not recently, this might be costing you more than you think, because there's a hidden tax on your social life. It's not written in any law, but it gets collected every single weekend, at birthday dinners, group trips, and that one round of drinks that somehow turns into 3. And here's what makes it dangerous. This kind of spending doesn't feel like spending. It feels like a connection. Saying no to a subscription is easy. No guilt tripping, no pressure. But saying no to people, that feels like rejection, like you're being difficult, like you're not a team player. So you participate, you spend, and justify it, saying, it's worth it, it's an experience. And sometimes it is. But here's the reality most people ignore. The money spent is gone. And when this happens 3, 4 times a month, that harmless social spending quietly drains hundreds from your account. Not in one big hit, but in small, invisible leaks. So what's the solution? It is not isolation, not cutting people off, but creating a structure. Create a social budget and treat it like a fixed expense. Decide the number before the month begins, and once it's spent, that's it. You can still show up, still enjoy life, but now you have a boundary. Because the reality is, every dollar you spend just to maintain appearances is a vote against your future self. Reason number 2, buying an identity instead of building wealth. Here's a truth most marketing doesn't want you to see. They're not just selling you products, they're selling you a version of yourself. The car isn't just a car, it's a statement. The watch, the shoes, the neighborhood, the restaurants you choose, they're all signals, messages you send to the world about who you are, or more accurately, who you want people to believe you are. And this is where it becomes dangerous, because once your spending is tied to your identity, every upgrade becomes permanent. You can't go backwards, because downgrading doesn't feel like saving money. It feels like losing status, like becoming a smaller version of yourself. And that's why you'll see people earning good money, who refuse to fly economy, who won't drive an older car, who constantly upgrade their lifestyle, not because they can't afford not to, but because their identity is now attached to those choices. And here's the irony. The people who actually build wealth, they don't play that game. Study after study on millionaires shows the same pattern. Most of them are quiet. They don't broadcast their wealth through what they own. They're wealthy because they stopped trying to look wealthy. And that leads to a simple shift. Simple to understand, but difficult to live by. Stop asking, what does this say about me? Start asking, what does this do for my financial position 5 years from now? Because one question builds an image, the other builds a future. Reason number 3, the no buffer cycle. There's a pattern you'll see in almost everyone who feels constantly broke. They have no buffer, no emergency fund, no margin, nothing sitting between them and the next unexpected expense. And because there's nothing there, every surprise becomes a crisis. The car breaks down, rent goes up, someone gets sick, your work device fails. On their own, these are just expenses, but without a buffer, They don't just cost money, they cost your progress. That goal you were working toward resets. And sometimes they push you into debt. And debt doesn't just take from today, it quietly drains your future income through interest before you even earn it. This is the no buffer cycle. And once you're in it, it feels like life is working against you. Every time you get a little ahead, something pulls you back. But here's the truth. That's not bad luck. It's a system problem. And system problems require system solutions. So here's the standard. Build a buffer. At least 3 months of your core living expenses. In an account you don't touch. And build it first, not later. Not when things improve. Now. Even if it's slow, even if it's small. Because a buffer doesn't just protect you from emergencies, it changes how you think. When you have no reserve, every decision feels urgent. Every expense feels stressful. But with a buffer, you gain something most people never realize they're missing: clarity. Reason number 4, paying everyone else first. And this one is hard to hear, because most people, the moment their income arrives, do something that quietly guarantees they end up with nothing left. They pay their rent, their subscriptions, their debts, their transport, their food, their obligations, and then, if anything is left, they try to save it. But there is rarely anything left. And this is the most common financial mistake across every income level. The sequence is wrong. Because when you pay everyone else first, you are making a silent decision that your landlord's priorities matter more than your future, that your streaming subscriptions matter more than your financial security. But there is a simple reversal. Pay yourself first. The moment your income arrives, a fixed percentage, like 10% or 5%, need to go immediately to your savings and investments. This is your future. Then you live on what remains. You will notice something interesting. You start to adjust. The budget reshapes itself around what is actually available. And things that once felt essential start to feel flexible because they always were. Wealth is not built by income alone, neither by effort alone. It's also built by sequence, because the order in which money flows through your life determines one thing: whether you accumulate or you don't. Reason number 5, financial illiteracy as the default. Here's what most of us were taught about money in school. Almost nothing, or close to it. You learned algebra, you learned history, you learned science, but no one taught you about compound interest. No one explained the difference between an asset and a liability. No one showed you what inflation actually does to your savings over time. So most people enter adulthood with a massive financial gap. And worse, they don't even realize the gap exists. Financial illiteracy doesn't look dramatic, it looks normal. It looks like keeping money in a current account and calling it saving. It looks like not understanding insurance until it's too late. It looks like borrowing for things that lose value, while never investing in things that grow. And here's the truth. Wealthy people are not necessarily smarter. They are financially educated. Whether through family, experience, or intentional learning, they understand how money actually works. And that understanding is a hidden advantage. Most people never take the time to build, but the solution is not complicated. Read one book on personal finance, understand what money is, understand how it behaves, and most importantly, understand what you want it to do for you. Because the information is not hidden, it is everywhere. It is just not taught. And that single difference between being taught and not being taught is worth everything. So, where does this leave you? None of these 5 reasons are really about income. They are about behavior, about awareness, about what you do with money, and what you understand about it, regardless of the number on your paycheck. Social spending, buying identity, no buffer, paying everyone else first, financial illiteracy. Each one is silent, each one is habitual, and each one is fixable. You do not need to fix everything at once. Start with the one that felt familiar, the one that made you pause, the one that felt uncomfortably close. That is your entry point, because change does not start everywhere. It starts somewhere, and where you start matters more than you think. But before you go, I want you to go back to something I said at the beginning. I said, income doesn't make you rich. It hides why you're broke. Now that you've heard everything, that line probably doesn't sound like a statement anymore. It sounds like a warning, or maybe even a mirror. Because if you strip away everything we talked about today, what's left is not a lack of money, it's a pattern. And patterns can be broken. If this video made you think, then it has done its job. If it made you uncomfortable, even better. And if you want to keep breaking patterns like this, subscribe, because the next video will go even deeper into what actually builds wealth when you stop leaking it. See you in the next one.